Am I wrong for refusing to pay my sister's rent after I covered my brother's medical bills, causing my mom to threaten going no contact? I, 31 male, am the oldest of 3 siblings. Growing up, my family was never particularly wealthy, but we got by. My parents made sure we had what we needed, but there was always this underlying sense that I had to take on extra responsibility because I was the oldest. My brother, Daniel, 28 male, and my sister, Sarah, 25 female, had different experiences. Daniel was always a bit of a free spirit, kind, but unfocused, and Sarah, well, she was the golden child. Our mom doted on her, praised everything she did, and seemed to shield her from any real consequences. Being the oldest, I often felt like I had to be the third parent. When our dad passed away when I was 18, that sense of duty became even heavier. I had just started college, but I ended up taking on extra shifts at my part-time job to help my mom out. I didn't resent it at the time, it felt like something I had to do for my family. Fast forward to the present day. A few months ago, Daniel fell seriously ill. He had always struggled financially, never quite finding his footing. He jumped from job to job, trying to make ends meet, and was barely scraping by. When his health took a turn for the worse, it became clear that he was going to be facing a mountain of medical bills. He didn't have proper insurance, and the out-of-pocket costs were astronomical. He was drowning in debt before he even got out of the hospital. I've always had a soft spot for Daniel. He's a good guy, just lost, I guess. So when I found out about his situation, I didn't think twice. I had been saving up for a house and maybe starting a family in the next few years, but that money seemed less important than helping my brother. I covered most of his medical expenses, close to $30,000, and didn't expect anything in return. Daniel was incredibly grateful. He called me several times, nearly in tears, thanking me for helping him out of a situation he saw no way out of. I felt good about it. It felt like I was doing the right thing. But then came the fallout. After Daniel's health stabilized, I thought the family drama was over. But a few weeks later, Sarah called me, and she wasn't calling to thank me for helping Daniel. Instead, she had a proposition. She wanted me to start paying her rent. Let me back up a bit here. Sarah has always had a pretty comfortable life. Out of the 3 of us, she was the one who seemed to figure things out the quickest. She got a decent job right out of college, lived in a nice apartment, and never seemed to worry about money. But she's also terrible with her finances. She's the type who spends her paycheck the second it hits her account, buying expensive clothes, going on vacations, and living way beyond her means. When she called me, she didn't even try to beat around the bush. She said that since I had helped Daniel with his bills, it was only fair that I help her out by paying her rent for a few months. According to her, I had set a precedent by helping Daniel, and now it was my duty as the oldest to take care of her too. I was stunned. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Sarah wasn't in any kind of financial trouble. She had a stable job, no medical emergencies, and honestly, she just needed to learn how to manage her money better. I calmly explained that I couldn't afford to pay her rent after covering Daniel's medical bills and suggested she start budgeting. I thought that would be the end of it. Boy, was I wrong. Sarah didn't take my refusal well, to say the least. She started crying and saying that I didn't care about her, that I was only willing to help Daniel because he was the needy one, and that I had always looked down on her for being more successful. It was a bizarre twist. Somehow, my refusal to pay her rent became a statement on how I had never supported her, even though she had never needed support in the same way Daniel had. Things got worse when my mom found out. Now, my mom has always been vocal about her love for Sarah. Growing up, it was no secret that Sarah was the favorite. My mom was always a little harsher with me, always expecting me to be the responsible one and take care of my siblings. When Sarah made mistakes, they were brushed off as youthful indiscretions. When I made mistakes, I was told to man up and do better. When my mom heard that I refused to help Sarah, she was furious. She called me up and didn't even ask for my side of the story. She immediately accused me of being selfish and abandoning my family. How could you help your brother but not your sister? She demanded. It's your job to look after them. You're the oldest, after all. I explained to her that I had already spent a huge amount of money on Daniel's medical bills, and I couldn't afford to start paying Sarah's rent on top of that. But she wouldn't listen. She started going on about how Sarah was under a lot of stress and that I needed to step in. And then came the kicker: Sarah is my favorite child. If you really cared about this family, you'd help her. You've always been more capable, and she's always been special. I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. Here was my mom, openly admitting that she had always favored Sarah, and using that as a reason for me to bail her out. It was like a punch to the gut, but at the same time, it was almost laughable. I ended up laughing, more out of disbelief than anything else. Mom, if she's your favorite, maybe you should pay her rent, I said. That didn't go over well. My mom completely lost it. She started yelling, accusing me of being heartless, of abandoning my sister, and of not caring about family. She even threatened to go no contact with me if I didn't help Sarah out. At that point, I was beyond done with the whole situation. I had given so much of myself, both emotionally and financially, to help my family, and now I was being painted as the villain. Do what you need to do, Mom, I said calmly. But I'm not going to be manipulated like this. That was the end of that conversation, but the fallout continued. My mom went on a rampage, telling everyone in the family that I had abandoned Sarah and refused to help her in her time of need. Sarah herself has been cold toward me ever since. She sent me a long text accusing me of never supporting her and saying that she was struggling with depression and anxiety, and that paying her rent would help ease some of her stress. I get it. Mental health is important. But I also know that throwing money at Sarah isn't going to fix her problems. She needs to take responsibility for her own life, and I can't keep bailing everyone out just because I'm the oldest. I offered to help her find a therapist or talk to someone, but she brushed that off. She only seemed interested in the money. Meanwhile, Daniel has stayed out of it. He thanked me profusely for helping him with his medical bills, but he hasn't said a word about the drama between me, Sarah, and Mom. I appreciate that, but it also feels a bit isolating. I'm the one who stepped up when things got tough, and now I'm the one being pushed out of the family. So, AITA for standing up to my sister and refusing to pay her rent, even after covering my brother's medical bills? Am I selfish for saying no and drawing a line, or is this just years of family dynamics finally boiling over? Enjoyed the story? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss new content. Share your thoughts and ideas in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think and what you'd like to see next. And if you want to keep watching more videos like this one, just click on the next video. See you there.